Welcome to this broadcast where we try to get you some voices from corporate India on their reactions to Budget 2020. And, well, it's always important to get in Dr. Pawan Goenka Johnson right now to speak about this. Dr. Goenka, thanks so much for speaking to us. This is Neeraj here. What did you make of this budget? Did this stimulate, or did this budget do enough to stimulate growth? Because we are at Bloomberg Quint, we're calling this the growth emergency. To your mind, has it done enough?
Well, let me put it this way, that the expectations that corporate India had from this budget were very high. Because a lot of actions were being taken by the government post the 5th July budget. The budget meets the expectations in certain areas and falls short in certain areas. The primary thing that we were saying is that the need of the hour is how to revive demand, how to revive consumption. Because the supply side was taken care of by and large by many steps that were taken post 5th July till before budget. I think the budget could have probably done a little bit more to revive demand. For example, the fiscal deficit of 3.5%, though more than 3.3% of last year, may have gone a little higher to maybe 3.8%. to put a little bit more money in the hands of the government to increase expenditure and therefore revive demand. And once the demand revives, then it could have gone into a virtuous cycle. The overall sort of immediate impact on demand may not be stimulated by this budget, but what this budget scores very heavily on is mid to long term. The kind of thing that have been talked about, the three sort of themes of aspirational India, economic development for all, and caring society, I think are themes that bode very well for us as a country. And there is a very clear, focused sort of statement on what we will do, and by implication what we will not do. That's very good. The fact that rural economy, agriculture continues to have the same thrust that it had in the past is very good for those businesses that are involved in rural economy. And also it's become a little bit more focused this time by defining 16 actions that will be taken for this, rather than spending money all over the place, to focus it on 16 areas which will give a big dividend. Also, there were no handouts. Everything that is being spent to sort of multiply in terms of the payback that will happen. The rural credit has gone to 15 lakh crore from 12 lakh crore again. So the rural segment has been very well taken care of in this budget, I believe. The education focus that has been talked about, again, it will not be immediate effect tomorrow, but I think in the long term it's going to have a very big impact. So overall, I think mid to long term thrust that's coming out very clearly is good, but perhaps short term from tomorrow, what might happen, it may have done more.
Yeah, Dr. Goenka, and therefore that's the question. The budget needed to probably do something imaginative for a bunch of sectors and save for growth to come in, even for autos. I mean, there's nothing imaginative that has come out in that sense. And the equity markets are kind of giving that signal as well, maybe due to the world issues, that growth, etc. Does that disappoint you in some way, that this was an opportunity to do something creative and bold and hasn't happened?
Well, let me yeah. So let me take auto for example. Obviously, we all know that auto industry is right now going through a very difficult time. And we were expecting that budget will do something to stimulate demand in the auto industry, knowing full well that there isn't any room to significantly reduce GST. So, for example, the scrappers policy that has been talked about could have been brought in into this budget. That would have helped. Some kind of buying incentive could have helped for general public, for government buying could have helped. So I think something to stimulate demand of auto industry directly, not indirectly, but directly, would have been good, because auto industry has significant backward and forward linkages, and auto industry growth bodes very well for the overall economic growth. So yes, that I would have to say is a bit disappointing. Knowing and understanding full well that there wasn't that much fiscal room available to the government to do two very big things. So some bold steps would have been certainly welcome in this budget.
All right, sir, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for giving us a quick perspective of what you think this budget dished out. Appreciate your time. All right, viewers, and thanks for tuning into this broadcast.